What's going on, people? Welcome to the live match reaction. I've got a smile on my face. I'm pretty sure all of you do as well, because Palace are unbeaten in another game. But on top of that, we get the 3 points away from home, climb up the table. We are fourth as we are recording this right now. What a time to be alive. I'm joined by Hambo. The lines will be open as well. If you do enjoy the stream, if not now, you'll never do it. Please hit the like button. Let's see if we can smash over 200 likes by minimum. And most importantly, get involved. Call into the show. Let us know how you're feeling about the game. Because as positive as the result was, and I'm going to remain positive, there are still good football talking points as well about, our final third. Pino, who got subbed off at halftime, conceded from a set piece. But overall, I'm happy. We start late from my happiness. So there's going to be no negativity here. Just honest chat. But Ambo, how you doing?
Really good, mate. I mean, I didn't really have some of the things that happened today down as likely events. If you wanted to say that, we were going to win the game from a hook right foot volley smashed into the roof of the net by Tyrick Mitchell, I would have had you carted away, institutionalized, and never let out again. But it's what happened, and that is why it's an amazing time to be a Palace fan right now. Unbelievable finish, and then when you see him with his strong foot slice the ball miles wide, you can't help but laugh. That sums it up for us at the minute, which is, we're having to take things a little bit game by game. But when you see a game like this today, you're reminded. Certainly, those of us who've been watching Palace a long time are reminded of the difference between, a Palace team today struggling a little bit in a game. Versus a Palace team of the past struggling. Like, we created 18 chances. I think we had 18 shots today in a game when, we gave the ball away way too much. We, struggled to get some rhythm, and we'll talk about the reasons for that, right? But we did all of those things. It was a little bit hard to watch at times, but we still created enough chances to score 6 or 7 goals. Honestly, and I'm not exaggerating. There were enough chances to have scored that many. So it's hard to kind of believe that it's real at times, to be honest with you, that we are that good, because we are.
Yeah. And look at some of the teams so far this season. I one in particular, Liverpool. Last minute winners. I mean, they managed to get last minute winner against Burnley. They've got last minute winners throughout the season, and the season just started right now, because at times, even if you don't play great, all that matters is for us to go get a win. Not only did we, get a win, that unbeaten run is still going on as well. Yeah. Unbeaten run is still going on. So, end of the day, take a game at a time. 3 points today. And next week is the battle of the unbeaten, facing Liverpool, because they're also unbeaten as well so far in the league. But despite that, as I mentioned at the start of the show, as happy as I am, and trust me, I'm over the moon. There are some talking points. There are some talking points that we need to discuss that I'm pretty sure Glazer will be looking at after this game as well, in order how can we improve. And the reason why we'll be discussing it is because of the manager and the players that we've got. The standards are so high right now at Palace that even if we do get the 3 points, we can still look and have a sensible conversation about how comes we didn't score more goals, or how comes this happened, or how comes we conceded that goal. Because that's the levels that our manager has set. That's the levels he set by winning the FA Cup, winning the Community Shield against these big sides, and being unbeaten in 17 games. And speaking about a post-match and pre-match about, we're still unbeaten, but we can still do more. So if our manager set that levels, who are we not to discuss it? So we'll be discussing that. But, Tyrick Mitchell, fantastic finish. Where was weak foot as well? Where did that come from? But saying that, Hambo, I know the finish was great and we can talk about that. But his overall game going forward so far this season, do you think you've seen an improvement? And is that because of Sosa?
I mean, I think in both cases, yes. But you've also got to credit the player. I don't think it's specifically because he's got competition. I think that helps because he's not playing every minute. If you think about Ty at Palace, he's had to play every minute, whether he's got a knock, whether he's fatigued or whatever. It's just he's been the left back, and we haven't really had. It's not just people challenging him. We haven't really had people to kind of step in that managers have trusted. So he's just been there game in, game every week, twice a week, whatever, just constantly playing. Now he's had the opportunity to come out of the team for, a couple of cup games, and you're seeing a player that's able to sustain a level We know what he can get to as a level. You know, at his very best, he's an international quality left back. He played for England. It was selected for England for a reason. He can reach that level, and I think he got to that level and then dropped off. And now we're seeing him back at that level. And if he keeps this going, you know, he can't be ignored. You know, at that, you know, on that side of things. But for us, you know, it's fantastic, and all the credit goes to him. And you're right, his all-round game today. He was one of probably 3 players you could pick out and say potential man of the match there. For me, there was one who was just above everybody else, and maybe we'll talk about that in a bit. But for Ty, he was right up there. And I think first and foremost, other than the entire team deciding to, I don't know, think about something else for 30 seconds while West Ham scored from the corner, like literally 11 players just watching the ball and then watching it go in and going, oh yeah, it's just a tiny little mistake. It happens, right? Other than that, Bowen, who is the only real threat for West Ham, like Ty just absolutely was on him all game. And when he got away, he didn't get away for long. You know, at West Ham's best moments, Bowen was still influential, but Tyrick did a fantastic job on him this week. And again, his passing, his awareness, getting into good spaces. You know, he's starting to get into. You can see players trusting him with that ball on the left. You know, you remember obviously Eze, who's now moved on,
avoided him at times. Last season, just literally, he's open and it's like, all right, you know what? I'll rather go and try to give it to someone who's got 3 players around him than give it to Mitchell that's open. But the fact that we've moved over from that and it was a fantastic goal, of course. It's not the finished product, but the fact that we don't have to really talk about his defensive abilities because he's always been great defensively. It's about him going forward. Like even today, I thought he was very good defensively. But if he adds that to his game, which I'm seeing more and more this season of him being a threat going forward in comparison to previous seasons. And I think Sosa does play a part, but another key element to it is the rest element where he hasn't had to play every single minute. He has been going into games more fresh because of having Sosa there. So Sosa as a direct competition, I think is helping Mitchell, but indirectly as well, but literally just playing and letting Mitchell just sit on the bench. You know, it's having that option there is a massive, massive boost. And, you know, him getting a winner, I'll be honest, I didn't expect it. If you asked me of all the players getting a winner, I didn't expect that Tyrick, Mitchell, Wally, we was weak for getting a winner. But he done it. He performed on the other side of the pitch. We managed to get the goal, managed to get the 3 points. And it was fantastic. But talking about defenders as well, you did mention man of the match. And for me, it was Chris Richards. I don't know if that was one of the players.
Yeah, it was.
First of all, I have to thank Chelsea because Chalobah going back has caused this. Because before Chalobah was playing, if Chalobah was still at the football club last season, I don't know what the future holds for Chris Richards because he was sitting bench behind him. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I don't know. I don't have the words to describe him anymore. That's the only way I can say. It's just unreal.
I go back
off the ball, on the ball, crazy.
I'll go back to what you said earlier about standards. Like I think raising the standards of that's expected of everybody. And look, we've all seen. You know, we saw in midweek with the Millwall game. Remain SA getting the sort of the rough end of those standards, if you like, and a few people were upset by that, and it's a hard thing to see because you want talent nurtured and you want young players given chances. And I saw there were some discussions before we started the show, people talking about that and the trusting of experience and all that kind of stuff. And you know, that's a big discussion. But I think when you set high standards, you know, people see what others are doing and they see what, you know, the work that goes in. And one thing you'd say about Richards for the entire time he's been at Palace is he never gave anything less than everything he had. But I think it's just that getting into that rhythm of playing games. He hasn't had a serious injury for a while. You know, he kept getting things that would keep him out for maybe a month or two. And then, as you say, he's had people come in and take that spot in the back three. Consistently playing right side of the back three. He is fantastic. He's the best in the air that we've got.
Yeah.
And that's not just because of the extra 3 inches from the hair. It is genuinely his positional awareness. That helps, obviously. Yeah. You know, I've got massive jealousy about that situation as well. But I'll put that to one side. But it's more than that. You know, you look at him playing passes. You look at him organising. There was a bit today, and it's actually a bit of poor play, but it looked like he had done the wrong thing. But you could see him. He was gesturing to Munoz to come shorter because Munoz was right up the flank, and West Ham was shutting off all the angles, and he knew the ball was coming back to him, so he played the ball to the left side of him to Lacroix, and he was doing this like come back in, and Munoz didn't, and he ended up having to hoof the ball pretty much directly out of play because it just didn't happen. Like, he didn't. But that's the difference in him. He's thinking about the game more than ever. I think that the kind of knowledge of the system that Glasner has kind of imbued into this group of players. And again, he's done a lot of the work for us when we talk about the team, because he talks about it so openly and honestly in the press. And he was talking this week about the fact that when you bring in new players, you can't spend an hour with them and they know the system inside out. But the players who've been here working under Glasner for a period of time, they are on another level. They know where everybody is, other than the new players. They know where everybody is. They know what their role is, and they know what their teammates' roles are, and they know when to cover and when not to. And that's why we're so hard to beat. That's why it's 17 games. And again, as Glasner pointed out, it's actually 4 defeats in like 34 games. Like,
that's crazy.
That's insane at the top level for Crystal Palace. That is insane.
That's insane for not Crystal Palace. That's insane for everyone.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, and if you think you're going to go through
by losing 2 games last year, right, or something like that. Liverpool only lost 2 games, and we're talking in a 38-game season. They only lost 2 games, and
so it's not far off that, is it? Again, a few more drops.
We're going to win the league, but like that's how Liverpool won. So
this year, I'm going to say this. This year was the first year I didn't do my usual bet, which is I bet £5 for Palace to win the league and £5 for Palace to finish bottom, right? And that's what I do every year, just to like, I don't know. It's always been a habit for a long time. I didn't do it this year. I thought it was stupid. I'm not going to keep throwing money away. It's what a ridiculous thing to do. Yeah. So if we do win the league, I don't look like Wayne Rooney. Fuck off. What we it's the light. I don't know what's happening in this room. My face. Anyway, doesn't matter. I have a similar amount of football talent now.
Oh yeah, I mean, now there's clips out there. Or maybe one day we could. We can show it. Yeah, maybe one day we can show it. But there is a lot of people waiting behind the scenes that I do want to bring one to the show. Yeah. So if you haven't already done so, people, there's about 150 watching live. How many likes are we on right now? We are on 59 likes. Let's try hit 100 likes if you're enjoying the stream. And let us know. Palace title race. I don't think so. But Ambo hasn't put his money down this year, so you never know. This might be the year. Let's bring on the first guest of the afternoon or evening, depending on where you are in the world. Dan, 2-1 win and 3 points in the bag, 17 games unbeaten. I'll be honest, I don't know how much better life gets as a Palace fan, because during this unbeaten run and then FA Cup, Community Shield as well, and we were in second gear.
Yeah, man, it's great. Sanchez has just been sent off, by the way. Sorry, I just thought I'd add that in, but no, just call it. I thought today, like we're hard to beat. We've made ourselves so hard to beat now. I mean, I didn't even in my wildest dreams think we'd go this far unbeaten. But we're rock solid now, and we're so hard to beat. All right, a goal was going to come. We can't not go the season just conceding 1 goal or whatever. But to bounce back from it as well was nice to see. I know it's only West Ham, but to bounce back the way we did, and then put the pressure back on them and score again, it's just every single one of them players need a pat on the back. They all done really, really well today. And you got to credit that, to bite down hard in your gum shield as you're in boxing stance, to bite down hard on your gum shield and to demand that performance, it's super. And you can't not give a bad word about anyone.
Yeah, Adam Walter came into the side today after his injury. It was good to see him play. for the majority of the game. And also, I thought the sub appearances from Jefferson Lerman and Eddie Nketiah as well. It's good to have players back in the squad because I know we were playing in second gear and we could play better and we will play better. I know that as a fact because it's still bedding in all of the new players. And, we've had injuries at the start of the season. These ain't excuses because of what Glaser said last season. And it turned out to be true. It takes a bit of time. But it's good to have these players back because when you're looking forward, Dan, we've got a European game coming up. We've got Liverpool coming up. And albeit we weren't great going forward, I thought in open play for the majority of the game, we were very good defensively again. They only ended up scoring from a corner, which was very unlike Alex to concede from a corner. But defensively, yes, we conceded, but it was another great performance, I thought.
Yeah, it's going to take some time for Wharton and Pino to understand their language. You know what I mean? Like Eze and Wharton understood one another, and you see how much flourish Eze had. You know what I mean? But Eze, Pino and Wharton, they'll be just fine. You know what I mean? Like, all right, the attacking threat's not really coming as much at the minute, but give it time. This team's going to cook. You know what I mean? This team is going to cook with Kamada going back into his natural role of centre midfield with Wharton or Doucouré coming in, whichever role, and then Pino and Sarr either one side. That team I think will cook. And then we'll have the attacking balance as well as the defensive balance as well. And I'm really looking forward to it. But I mean, I'm just going with the flow at the minute. I'm not getting too excited. I'm not getting too excited. I'm keeping my feet on the ground, and but everything at the minute is just absolutely brilliant. The new signings are settled in well. I'm surprised. I'm very surprised on the Pino substitution because I thought Uche was going to come in, but he preferred Devaney, which is fair. What do I know? You know what I mean? I'm just a fan, but no, it's really good to see, and I'm really enjoying this ride at the minute.
Yeah, it is.
I come in on that point because I think you weren't alone with the substitution. In fact, I was keeping an eye across a few areas where people were talking about the game, and there was a lot of criticism for Devaney coming on and not Uche. And I think there's a bit of, first of all, we all get excited about new players, and particularly the little flashes we've seen of Uche. And if anyone who's watched videos of him and his sort of highlight reels and stuff will be really excited about him as a player for Palace, and he looks like he's got a lot of potential. And people have been pretty harsh on Devaney. And to be fair, he took about 10 minutes to get into the game. I think first touch he had in the match was the ball basically hit him and went off for a throw-in. And then he was just kind of running around trying to get into the match. But when he got into the game, the quality he has on the ball, it's undeniable. He's an example of a player who we've got to be really, really careful with, because it's great to have high expectations. But you don't need to be kind of focusing negatively on a player like Devaney, who was he 21, I think, maybe coming up to 22. He has earned Glasner's trust, and if you respect what Glasner's doing, and how could you not, you have to understand that he sees a real player there. But I get that. I'm not criticizing you. I think again we're splitting hairs really because of how insane this run of games is. But Devaney was the right call. But it didn't look like it for 10 minutes. It really didn't.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you there, Hamber. I mean, no disrespect to Devaney or anything, but I was kind of just like sort of like that, when he come on. But the boys getting better and better with games. With games keep on coming. I thought. Again today, I thought I was saying to myself, yeah, he's having a brilliant game. And then he goes and does something madness, and I'm like, oh, this commentator's curse all over again. It's just so good to see someone like Devaney getting a chance. You know what I mean? I'm all right, Roman Essay. I don't really want to comment on that one, but at the end of the day, is what it is, I suppose.
Yeah. And looking forward now to Liverpool, the battle of the unbeatens. I mean, we're going into the game with fine form, and hopefully Ismaila Sarr should be back as well for that one.
Yeah. I'm a bit fearful for that one. If I'm being honest, that's going to be the big test. I said I wanted to get put. I said I wanted to get the win against West Ham today, and then whatever will be against Liverpool. You know, Isak's just come back into the fold. I think he's going to be gunning for a start. You know, but today they didn't look brilliant against an average Everton team. To be fair, but you know, you never know. We just have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens. But look, Dan, always a pleasure talking to you, and hopefully we'll catch up with you after that game.
And you, man, take care of yourselves.
care.
See you soon, guys.
That was Dan having to say. If you're just joining now, please do hit the like button as you do come into the show.
You're so needy, honestly.
I am.
It's unattractive.
Okay, no, but the thing is, that's how a lot of people do find the channel. Like, it's not. I wish I was getting money for every like. That would be amazing, but it doesn't work like that. It just helps spread the channel so more Palace fans can find it.
And that's the conversation we had behind the scenes before the season started, wasn't it? How can I get money for likes? I think you were asking. Not paying me.
Maybe you, not me. But it's been helping us out. It's been helping us out. I know it must sound annoying, but it's just one of those friendly reminders, because a lot of people do join halfway through the show.
I'm just playing with you. It's really important that people spread the word. It is important that they like. It's important that they subscribe, and it's important that they tell people that we exist.
Exactly. Let's bring on Tim next. Tim,
come on, up the Palace.
I don't know how you moved Hammer to the bottom. We just came in and Hammer shifted to the bottom.
I dragged myself.
I don't know.
That is funny. Palace West Ham 1.
I don't know. I didn't mean it, Hambo. There you go.
Here we go.
All right, there we go. That's better.
Feels right.
That does feel right. I have a question for you guys. Because I was listening to the audio and watching. Forest looked terrible, by the way. So I was watching Burnley and Forest while I was listening to the Palace game. Forest looked terrible. But which is I get a little Schadenfreude out of that. But here's my question for you, because this feels like what Glasner has been saying about mentality. And on the site today, there was maybe it was an interview with Yuzi, and he was talking about this. He was talking about winning mentality. That's what this feels like. This feels like, you know what? We're not really at our best. And I think the first 15, I mean, I didn't get to see it, but like the first 15, 20 minutes of the second half didn't sound that great, be honest. And then, you get the goal against the run of play. Wow, by the way, I've seen that goal from Ty on his right foot. I didn't expect that. And then after that, nobody other than the way it sounded is nobody other than Palace was getting those points. That's what it sounded like, which is just like a pure winning mentality. So is that what this is? Is that is today a demonstration of Glasner has embedded a winning mentality in this team? And that's what we saw.
I think whether you describe it as a winning mentality or just a positive mentality, look, we go into every game. Everybody's said it enough now. Like over the time he's been with us, the players know that they go into every game with a plan to win the game. There's no well lads, we're playing Spurs today, so we're going to shut up shop and hope for the best. And if they play well, we're going to lose. I'm not saying that a manager said that, but he did say that previously. Yeah. So we won't go into that, right? So that doesn't exist at the club now, which I am all for, right? I am 100% behind that, right? Because you have to go into every game. That's the point of football. That's why we follow it, right? That's why we're supporters, because you dream. It doesn't matter about logic. It doesn't matter about anything. You go every single game, you're like, we could win this. I mean, last year we could win the cup, and we did, and it happened. Yeah. And it doesn't happen that often, but but somebody has to win everything. So that's the dream. That's the dream. We all dream that our team is going to become the best team in the land, and we're going to grow and grow and grow and get all the best players and all that kind of stuff, right? That's what it's about. And the players are living that right now, And Glasner talks about that often, doesn't he? When he talked about think about the moment. Don't worry about your careers. Don't worry about your money, but think about how much it's worth for you to go and stand in front of the fans, having done something incredible that nobody else has ever done.
Right.
in a Palace shirt. Imagine that. So he's all about mentality. He's all about visualization of saying, this is what it's going to feel
and belief.
like. Yeah, and belief. And you've got a squad that believes. You've got a squad that goes into every single game going, we can win this game. And you know what? We haven't gone behind this year, but if it happens, it's not going to change the mentality of the team.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, Adam, don't you think, like, again, watching the game today, D, you'll probably back me up here, right? There was moments where I thought, oh, we've lost our heads here a bit.
Yeah,
Like,
especially in the second half. The start of the second half, as Tim mentioned, it was like, what's going on? I mean, it was a bit surprising considering how we controlled the first half. But yeah.
And there was, you look at people like, again, Wharton just coming back into the side. He was struggling for a part of the game. He's a little bit of a struggle first half, some struggles in the second half. Probably let the runner go for the goal. I need to see it back again, but it looked like he just watched Bowen run off him. So you have moments where we struggle, but then you just look at that unit and they're not impacted by it. Again, like Glasner doing all the work for us on the show, but he talked in midweek about saying, in terms of games that we've lost, like in recent memory, it's only 2, and it was 2 in a row, City and Newcastle.
Yeah, and gave up 10 goals.
We got battered twice in a row, right?
Right.
And he's like, that's it. That's the only time it's happened. That's the only time people's heads have dropped. That's the only time we've lost our composure, forgotten the system, and been exposed by another team, And so, Tim, it's all about mentality, winning mentality. Yeah, it's definitely that because, we've drawn a lot of games, but that's because, it's very hard to win every single football match, isn't it? But like
it is.
We're trying to, and that's
especially with new players as well coming into the side. I feel like in a certain games, let's say maybe the Sunderland game, if we still had Eze, or even like the Forest game, if we still had Eze, then some of those draws I think could have easily been wins. As I said, Yeremy Pino, he got subbed off at half time today, but the new players are adjusting, and that's where Glasgow's frustrations really come from when it comes to the transfer windows, because he doesn't want the business done late, because now we have this period of new players bedding in, and we shouldn't have it. Like, we should be ready to go because every game match. But despite that, we're still doing much better than we did at the start of last season, Tim.
Yeah, for sure. And I really put that down to not just Glasner, but so two things, and then I got to get out of the way so we could get other people on. But to answer that question, D, look at the back three. Look at the back three. I mean, I think, right now we're 4th. I will say, and I'm saying this dead serious, I think we have a top 4 defense in this league. I think we have a top 4 defense, a Champions League level defense. It is that good. We are that hard to play against. And this is, I know everybody likes, great, fun to watch, free-flowing football. I like that too, but I kind of get out of my seat with great defensive football. I love great defensive football because that's what you build from. Great defensive football is winning football. If you play terrible defensive football, I can show you teams that will lose because they play terrible defensive football, no matter how many goals they score. So you've got to build from that core foundation. That's just fundamental. And Glasner gets it. And he puts a very good counterattacking unit on top of that. And it makes us really dangerous to play against. So I think that's great. Last thing, and I got to let you guys go so we can get to other people. But can we just take a moment to appreciate the fact that on the pitch today, there was Malik Diouf and Tyrick Mitchell. And it wasn't that long ago. There were a lot of people talking about Malik Diouf we got to just pay the money and get him in, and he'll be the starter, and we'll move on from Ty. Well, who made the statement today? I'm not saying that was wrong, by the way. I kind of got that argument. I was almost for it even a little bit. But man, my goodness, I am so pleased for Ty. I could not be happier for him right now.
Yeah, exactly. Especially what a fantastic finish. And it seems like having backup for Ty has definitely helped him.
Yeah, for sure. It has pushed him. No question.
Yeah. All right, cool, Tim. Great talking to you. Hopefully we
Great to
catch
see
up
you
with
guys.
you next
All
show.
right.
Take care.
Oh, you cut him off. He said up there. What was he going to say?
He was going to say up the padders. I cut him off.
Oh, okay. There's other things you could have said which would have been problematic. Assume they weren't. What he was gonna...
Animal, how you doing? You're only here when we're winning, as I always say. There's another win.
Well, listen,
we
we don't stop winning.
Yeah, well,
What
I
can I
mean, we
say?
draw games. You're not here in the draws. You're here for the wins.
I don't see the draws. I don't watch the draws.
Yeah, you're too good for the draws.
How we
What do you
doing?
make of today then?
What?
I mean, you know, there's a lot of people saying that we're not at our best, but if we're winning when we're not at our best, I'm happy. I think we are playing catch up with our own fitness levels a little bit due to having to obviously play without the players that we've had brought in for the large part of the beginning of the season, having to play without Nketiah. It's left JP gassed, I think, and you know he's got to come back to full fitness. I think he's dragging on it a little bit, and that will come with time. I mean, we're about to have 7 days before we play Liverpool again, but at the moment, it's all about having the players that we bring in click, and then everyone around get those fitness levels back up. You know.
Yeah, and I think the new players. You can see Pino today got subbed up at halftime. I don't think he had a great first half. That was a bit surprising. I think the new players are still bedding in, and it makes sense. Look, it's only been 5 games that since they've been here. But what was your thoughts on Pino getting subbed off?
Well, I knew pretty early that it was an injury. I think they said it in as Devaney was coming on, so I wasn't really overly concerned about it. And I think maybe it's a precautionary substitution, maybe not that big of an injury, but like a little bit of a niggle or something that he's off with. That's an assumption.
I must have missed that. I didn't know it was an injury, so that's good to know.
So you remember he was he had an injury to his ankle that he arrived with from Villarreal, and he pulled out the Spain squad, didn't he, to rest it? And you saw him; he chased all the way back. Great challenge on Wilson, but he rolled it. And you got to hope that's just as Animal said, precautionary. Like let's not make that situation any worse, rather than a worsening of that injury. So fingers crossed on that.
Yeah.
Like aside from his decision making in game, I'm quite happy with what I see from Pino in terms of effort and tracking back and make it. I mean, would any of you have expected Ezra to run all the way back to the goal and make a tackle on Callum Wilson?
I think that's the difference. As soon as he joined, to be fair, that was the one element of his game that was going to get differently. And Glazer did mention, before he signed, that we were looking at profiles that maybe they could offer something that Eze couldn't have offered. And he was definitely talking about Pino because defensively, he's way more active in terms of tracking back and getting into tackles than Ebbs was. And today you saw it once again, on the counter, he's there, he's tracking back. And it is a good point. That's no slate on Eze. Eze was very good going forward.
Yeah, of course not.
But that was the one element of his game where he would track back, but not on the levels of Pino from what I've seen so far anyway. So that's good to see. But despite him getting subbed off, it's good to have now options slowly coming as the starters and even off the bench. Devaney came off the bench for him. And not only Devaney, we haven't mentioned Nketiah, but I thought Nketiah looked very good today when he came in.
Nketiah did look good today. He looks bright, he looks energetic, he looks hungry, and that's how I want Nketiah to be, is hungry for goals, but without putting that expectation on him like we remember from last season. If he puts too much expectation on himself to score, then he could get into his head a little bit. And what I want from Nketiah is that hunger, but a level head at the same time. But I'm so glad he's back because JP needs a rest.
But on that, you've reminded me of something. Like when he came on, he played as one of the 10s, didn't he, Nketiah?
Yeah, he did.
In and around Mateta, sort of acting as one of the 10s, but get back. And I wonder if that's been a kind of a discussion point for him. Like, obviously, he's missed a pre-season, but he's going to have been in the gym. He's going to have been around the club. They're obviously trying to keep him involved. And I wonder if it's like, they get their summer homework, don't they? Go and do this. And I wonder if they've said to him, look, opportunity-wise, if you want to play week in, week out, you're going to have to dislodge JP if you're playing as a striker. Good luck doing that. But if you get an opportunity, take it. But if you want to get in that side week in, week out, and JP's fit, the other 4 positions are there. So, think about it. You know, watch some people who play in that position. Here's some videos. Here's some suggestions. Here's some tactical thoughts. You know, and I'm sure that's been going on for a long time because you know he has played in those positions before. He has played a bit wide left. He has played occasionally on the right. You know, so this is not new. I'm not saying I had this sudden brainwave over the summer, but like, I wonder if that's just sort of kind of dawned on him that he needs to be adept in that position because he looked great today. The movement, the pass and go. That's a great thing to be
It
able
was
to do.
very nice. It was smooth. Like,
Yeah.
we beat the press many times by the pass and goes, and he just kept it simple. Sometimes it goes to Esse, for example. I think Glazer just wants him to keep it simple, but he's, I think, got like a point to prove. So, but that's another topic. I don't want to get into that. But I don't know, Hambo. I don't. Let's see what happens, but I don't think he'll be playing in that number 10 role as often when everyone is fit. But it might be a shout. I think Mateta still needs his rest. Maybe today, because we're Pinner going out injured and Sarr still not in the side, and maybe that's why he had to kind of fit in there. But could be. What do you think, Animal?
I think that the substitution today for Devaney to come on was with half a mind on the fact that Glasner knew he wanted to bring off Wharton. So I think with bringing Devaney on in that position, he could sort of easier rearrange things. You know what I mean? Kamada dropping back and maybe trying a bit of Nketiah out there because he knew he wanted to give Nketiah minutes from coming back from injury, right? So I think it might have just been a little bit of a positional thing. I think we will see Uche again. I haven't even seen Uche play, by the way, because I've had to miss a couple of games so far this season. So I haven't even seen the lad play, but I've heard, you know, obviously great things about him. But there are two players today, and like Ty Mitchell, like Lou called it, and I think he's right. Has moved up into another level because last season I'm critical of our players. You know, when I think that they are deserving of it, and I think Mitchell last season in an attacking sense kind of boiled my blood a little bit, as well as Ezra as well, actually for about 50% of the season. But you know, seeing him careering up the left hand side now, linking up with Devaney, you know, it's such a change from the Mitchell that we saw last season. You know, he's starting to get really confident in the attack, and that's what we want to see. I think there was oh, hang on, no, sorry, I didn't want to talk about that. But the other guy is Richards. Richards has raised his level more than anybody else I've seen. We spoke about this at the end of last season, and I think that having Gay and Lacroix next to him and consistently playing this back three that we've got, he is turning into one of our most important players. I think, like you said, he's great in the air. He's strong. He's now composed on a level that I don't see of like Lacroix, for example. We had a couple of moments today where Lacroix kind of made me nervous, but Richards, next level, man. I know that's going to make our American viewers and Canadian viewers happy, but yeah, really good play out there today. I've got a question actually.
Yeah.
There was a moment in I think it was the first half, where Munoz puts a ball across. It goes too far, comes down, and Mitchell crosses the ball back in. Kamada gets on the end of it with a head, and it just goes a little bit wide. But in that, Kamada was fully in the air, and the defender had pushed Kamada with two hands on him. And I'm wondering, was that not a penalty? I don't understand why that wasn't a penalty.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because like no one reacted, and I think, and I'm one of those people who thinks that football has a problem with if people don't react, people don't make a decision.
Yeah.
And then you get people criticised for, you know, sensing a foul and falling over, or, you know, and, you know, so for example, like if you jump a challenge and you don't get contact, like the impact of the challenge is still that you're not able to carry on with what you were doing, right? So it should be a foul.
Yeah.
But how many times do you see someone slide in, miss the ball, a player jumps out of the way, and the ref goes, cool, off you go.
Yeah.
You're like, well, actually, we've been disadvantaged by that. So I think it's a bit of that. But yeah, and there was also
it wasn't even looked at by VAR as well. You know, that's kind of why it was strange.
Yeah, no one shouted, no one said, "Hey," and you know, again, you look at it and you just think. My first thought was Kamada's got to score that, and then my second, why is Kamada the one on the end of a cross on a head?
Yeah.
And then I'll be honest, I didn't even pick up on it because there was no shout. The one I saw was it Walker Peters had his hands in front of his face like this and blocked Pino's shot?
he made like a little arm with his right hand, right, like up above his face, but it came off of his right arm, I think, like up on his shoulder, like on his body. That's how I saw it. But Pino, I think,
He was
called for
adamant.
the arm, but
yeah, he's adamant.
he
that
was
it had
adamant.
that.
But he's Spanish. I know the Spanish out here, man. They like to get away with one or two. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
and yeah,
possibly
it's,
comment.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I don't know. You live out there, so you can tell us better than we can. But yeah, I do think I don't know, this year especially there's been some weird decisions. But I'll be honest, if that was against Palace, I would be a bit upset if that was given as a penalty. To be fair, it's still.
I don't know. For me, it's he's in the air, and when you've got two hands pushing on him, I think it was Mavropanos, to be quite honest with you. But sometimes I get confused between like the rules in rugby and the rules in football. I get like mixed up and confused in my head. So maybe I'm just getting it wrong. But it was definitely in the moment. I was like, hang on a minute. I saw the two hands on Kamada. I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah. Looking ahead to the next game now, Liverpool, the battle of the unbeaten sides. Both sides still yet to lose a game. How are you feeling based on today?
If anyone can do it, it's going to be us, isn't it? But I think Liverpool aren't the same Liverpool from last season. I think they're still clicking with their players as well, and I think it's a moment where we can capitalize on it potentially with a good bit of rest in between these games. I think we've got a chance to really sort of get our players clicking and running a little bit better. We're going to have Sarr back, I believe, for this game, so we're going to have that speed back on that right hand side and a bit more of that structure in the front three, where Mateta and JP are used to playing with each other. Sarr and JP are used to playing with each other, and also Sarr and Munoz are going to be back together, linking up as well on the right hand side. So I am always positive. And I think we can get a result, but I'm probably going to go with a draw. Eventually. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
but I'm confident.
Exactly. I think defensively, in a way, Liverpool probably suits us more than West Ham because of the style of football. They'll have more spacing behind, and they haven't been great defensively. West Ham, they kind of had numbers behind the ball and trying to make sure there's no spaces for us to operate. And even though we found spaces at times, I think Liverpool attacking us will be, of course, more of a threat, and we have to be wary of that. But if we're good on transition, which we have been, and Sarr coming back is going to be massive for that. For this game.
Then I will always put Mitchell. I will always put Mitchell to have to give Salah a quiet game as well. Like I think Mitchell's mustard when it comes to defending against Salah.
Yeah. Let's see. But Animal, pleasure always talking to you. Hopefully we'll catch up with you after
Thanks,
that
guys.
one.
I want to agree with Tim as well and say that I think that we've got a top four defense as well. Yep. So agreeing with Mr. Tim Bayers there.
Yeah, we do have a great defense. But look, pleasure talking to you. Catch up with you again soon.
You too, guys. Thank you very much. Okay. And up the Palace.
Up the Palace. He got in. He got in.
Yeah. I should have been quicker.
Yeah. Just on that Liverpool point, just in case I don't get a chance to mention it, you sort of said similar thing there, but the problem we got with Liverpool is the goals that they have in that team, right? We are doing fantastically defensively. We're going to need that top four defense when we play them in a week's time. I think we will have to take our chances, but we did that today. I think when we scored our second goal, that was 2 out of 2 shots on target scored, and that's the kind of thing that we'll need to produce against Liverpool. But it's interesting looking at that game in that way, though, isn't it? Right? Isn't it fascinating to be in a position where you're like, okay, Liverpool have won 5 on the trot in the Premier League. 11 goals in 5 games. They concede an average of 1 a game, but they've scored 11 in 5, and you're just like, okay. But you're sort of sensing a bit of weakness there. And then why are our brains looking at that table and going, well, if we beat them, we're on 12. We're within 3 points of them. What's happening?
Liverpool, behind Liverpool. Exactly. It's crazy. And I think the players will be hungry for it. And as good as play that Selhurst Park as well, I think the fans will be up for it, man. I'm loving life right now. I'll be honest. I'm loving life right now. I know it's early days. Well, except early days. We haven't lost since April. But I know it's early days in this season. But, I mean, if we did get a win against Liverpool, it
wouldn't be back of the nest if we didn't just do a little bit of negativity, right? We've got to get just a little bit in there, and everyone can hate on me for this, right? But I did get this feeling. I'm looking at the team. I'm not like, obviously Pino goes off injured. I'm just like, okay, well that's not great. Hopefully that's not too serious. And I also look at the fact that I think we're at the stage of the season where, because of the Conference League, we've played an extra couple of games than a lot of teams, right? Not every team, but we've played a lot of games, and we're at a point where the balance is a little bit in our favour, I think, because there is fatigue, but there's a rhythm to that, right? When you're playing regularly, you're not losing. There's a really good rhythm to that. But it doesn't take too much when you've got a small squad for that to be disrupted, and we've got to be really, really mindful of that, okay? And going back to the topic, and everyone sort of mentioned it, everyone who's come on has pretty much said this about players bedding in. We're looking at that as a positive right now. We're saying we're winning games, right? We're winning games, and the players aren't even gelling. It's not like last year where we couldn't really get a win because we were so late acting in the window. Well, we did it again, and right now you could argue, and I think Glasner is sort of arguing, that we're taking it game by game, and at the moment we're getting away with it. Like today, we've won the game with a worldie from Mitchell, and we should have taken more of our chances. If you think about it again, if you're desperately trying to sort of prize a little bit of negativity out of it, and just say, look, we've got to be cautious. I think, and I have no doubt.
Is the season ain't over? It's start of the season.
And they'd say don't look at the table until 10 games in, but I'm ignoring that this year. I'm looking at it. It's on my screen. Yeah.
Exactly, it's on my screen.
Yeah.
So I keep refreshing the table as it is because Chelsea are losing, and of course, if Chelsea draw, then they'll be above us. But yeah, right now as it stands, we're still fourth.
So we're in a really good place, and again, I'm not trying to like dampen expectation or anything like that. Enjoy it. We've got to take this for what it is. We're fourth in the league after 5 games. We're unbeaten, and we're playing good football, and we're already going through the situation of losing play. Like Sarr was our top scorer until then got injured. He was dangerous in every game, and we've coped with losing him. We've lost Eze to Arsenal, and we've coped. And we're not just coping; we're thriving. We're doing an amazing job. But I really do think we've got to be. I know we brought in the new director of football, Matt Hobbs, and we've got to be looking at the window now. Like, it is not enough to look and think, well, we've got Sarr to come back in, and we can supplement that with the other players that we've got, the fringe players, and they're, and the players that we've brought in already are going to get used to the system and be better. Like Pino will, you can see it, he's got great scan when he's got the ball. He's always looking, he's dropping deep in intelligent positions. He'll do fine. If he stays fit, he's going to be a fantastic player for us, right? Uche I've not really seen enough of, but he looks like a really high potential player. We've got good things going on, but the club needs to be looking at that January window now and thinking, what can we add? And I'm sorry, it's got to be up top, isn't it? And it's hard to bring players in to say, look, you're going to have to wait for your opportunity because we've got great players playing at the top of their level and they know the system, and you are going to have to be patient. It's hard to bring in top quality players and say you ain't necessarily going to play straight away, but we've got to do it because we don't have enough in the squad to sustain a season on all fronts, which is what we're pushing for.
Let's see where we are around January times. Maybe the club do take that gamble. Normally, we like to be a bit more on less risky side of things, risk averse. Maybe that changes. If we're still, up there, maybe 6th or 7th and in touching distance of, well, that'll be European spots anyways. Maybe the club are like, you know what? Let's just take the risk. Let's go in January. Let's try push on. Let's try bring in an extra 1 or 2 players and go for it. So let's see. We still got enough time for that anyways. Towards the end of September. But there's going to be a lot of games played between now and before the window opens. But as you said, we have to be preparing for the next window right now. So we know exactly what to do as soon as the window opens. Let's bring on Alex. Alex, 4 losses in 2025, another win today. You must be happy like we all are.
Yeah. 4th place. Ole, ole, ole. Have we ever been in 4th place, by the way? That's why.
Yeah, we have. We finished 3rd in the top.
Oh, yeah, that's right. In 91. Yeah, okay.
Those were the days. I had hair. I was young. Didn't look like Wayne Rooney.
Yeah. A few things that so great chat and great talk, guys. But I did notice a few things that no one mentioned. So last year, when we were trying to explain the issues with Glasner, it's like he starts slowly. He doesn't win his first game for like 5 or 6 games. We're starting the year playing okay, but we haven't lost in 5 games. We're like probably going to be the second to last team to lose or the last, depending on if we beat Liverpool or not. Like that's crazy to me. And like this comes from a manager who purposefully, he's like the Bill Belichick of like of world football, where it's like, you know, you don't start the first few games guns blazing. You go, you figure things out, and then you stick to a system. And that's why, like, you know, when people getting mad at like Devaney coming on, he's a perfect cog in the wheel. He just frustrates people because he's not like, you know, he's not Wilfred Zaha or in that style. It's hard to get behind somebody who's just, you know, trying to like kind of hustle and like kind of show up in all different spots, like playing left wing back versus Millwall, you know, like. But I love players like that, you know. Like I guess I have more appreciation for that. I still think Uche should have played today, but I can't fault the gaffer too much for it. And then the other thing that I was going to say is just I think it's crazy how we're doing this with so little of the of our in the league. Okay, Canvo hasn't played a minute. Sosa hasn't played a minute. Pino's playing a lot.
Does it not come on? Sosa, come on, one.
No, not in the league. No,
does it not come on in the league? Okay.
No, it's only been cup games. And then Benitez not in the league, and then Uche once. Like we're doing all of this with the same core of players, and that means something. Again, I think I've been harping on this for years. That continuity matters, and everyone wants this. And it's not that I'm saying that, oh, it has to be that way. No, but it's so wildly underrated in world football that just like everyone is just like, oh, just pay the 20, 30 millions for Diop. By the way, Diop today, he couldn't get a good cross in. Like that was a big part of it. He is an incredible crosser of the ball. And he got 1 or 2 okay chances, but nothing really to give anybody close to a shot. Like that means something. Like we're defending in a way that people who are defeating, like Diop is probably one of the best players at this moment, and he didn't really do much of anything today. Like the fact that he gets an assist is kind of ridiculous because all it was nobody moving but Bowen on either team. And Bowen reads it perfectly. Goal. Yeah,
exactly. And I think that's the credit to our defense, to be fair, because in open play, I know they had a spell in the start of the second half, but for the large part of the game, we defended well. They didn't create that many chances.
Yeah, wasn't there like a tackle that Richards made in the first half? Last man tackle on Wilson. Yeah,
unreal.
But like those 2 recoveries in the first half, like you want to say that we were comfy. I felt the same way, but man, we had 2 really good recoveries in the first half. And so that's why when the second half started, I was like, what is happening? What am I watching?
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, definitely.
But what are the expectations then for you this season? What do you think this Palace side can achieve? I know it's still early. You don't want to get too far ahead, but it's been a positive start, better start than last season. Yes. We know that Glasgow sides normally take a while to hit the top form, and I expect us to be better in terms of performances once all the new players understand the expectation of the Premier League and know the teammates a bit better. Look, we're right now 9 points after 5 games. And
very good.
Doing well whilst not playing great.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think outside of like maybe a total of 90 minutes in the league, most of the time we've just been getting really good stalemates in all of our games. But you know, we have had some real good runs too as well. I don't know. Like, I guess it's hard for me to tell because we relied so much on Sarr last year. And Sarr is such a streaky player. Not that like he's going to affect the game. He affects defenses a lot, but he's not a great finisher. He can finish. He's had some amazing goals for us, but he's not well known for it. So what happens if things aren't quite working for him? I think it's a big it's a big wild card here, because I think if he comes out, we're scoring goals with him, and then we could bring on like Pino, Uche, like Nketiah, all of these players off the bench as like great options for depth. I'd love that, you know. But if Sarr starts to struggle or if he gets hurt, I think that's a big issue.
Well, he'll be back for the Liverpool game.
Yeah, definitely.
Are you optimistic about that one?
I don't know. I think we could. I never feel confident about us winning against Liverpool. I think we could win it. I think we're the type of team that has enough bad juju that we can cause other teams to not basically play a game that they don't want to play. That's kind of our style, and I appreciate that, like the way our defense works. And like today, I thought the way we handled the last 20 minutes, where so much of it was a lot of the back three, like reading the between the lines passes and just intercepting them. It was really great to watch. I thought that we were excellent the last 20 minutes of today. And so I don't know, like it won't be an easy game for Liverpool. They certainly haven't had an easy game yet. Somehow they've won all 5. Yeah, I'll go with a draw on this one. I think we'll draw it.
Yeah, let's see. But Alex, always great talking to you. Let's see what happens against Liverpool, and hopefully we'll catch up with you then as well.
Yes, up.
All right, take care. Up. You can finish it. All right, take care.
I mean, this is true of any show. Sometimes a host has to leave to go make roast potatoes, and I do have to leave.
I need to go as well. So we're going to wrap up.
But I do want to say one thing. If Justin Devaney was called Justinius Devanino or something like that, he would get so much more love than he gets right now. And I've said at times, like, I look at him and he's not quite a Premier League player, like not quite. And I think at times that is a little bit true, in terms of decision making and sort of speed of thought, that kind of stuff, right? But he is every bit a Premier League player in waiting. Like he's pretty much there, can contribute on a regular basis, and is an exceptional footballer. So I'm just making the point that, you know, he's got a Scottish accent. He plays for Northern Ireland, and that's not as exciting as, you know, getting somebody in from Brazil and putting a Ballon d'Or clause in their contract.
And that's the indirect in. We know who you're talking about there.
Yeah.
We know who you're talking about there. But yeah, look, great win. Once again, we'll be back with the player ratings hopefully tomorrow. If you have enjoyed this, drop a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel as well. Most importantly, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below after we end the stream, which is going to be in about 10 seconds time. Have a great evening, people, and until next time, up the Palace.